Ladies and gents, welcome to another episode of Optimize Your Body. I have my friend and A-grade client here, Nikki Drew. She's over in Nantucket, and I'm going to let her introduce herself because I always mess these up, right, Nikki? I always screw them up. Anyway, long story short, Nikki is a client. She's been a client of mine since March last year. She's also from the homeland. She's from Wales as well. So we got that good connection there. She's from Wales in the UK. But yeah, Nikki, tell us a bit about who you are and I guess what you do.
Hey, I'm Nikki. I am a personal trainer on Nantucket. I've been a personal trainer for 13 years here. Before that, I used to run bars and restaurants on the island of Nantucket, and obviously got in a really bad spot with all of that, because when you're running bars and restaurants, that's the story. And before that, the way I got to Nantucket from Wales, from the homeland, Yaki Da, right, Mark?
That's right. That's right. My Welsh is not very good, but yeah, keep going.
I know.
Please don't test me on that.
That's all I know. Before that, I was working as a ski guide in the French Alps, and that's kind of how I got into doing seasonal work, and that's how I got to Nantucket. But yeah, that's how I'm here.
Awesome. So, in terms of you being a trainer as well, and just for the audience, like Nikki said, she's been just in Nantucket alone, she's been a personal trainer for 13 years. But we're going to get into because you can know everything you know, and you can be know what you know in the gym and be strong and everything else, and kind of know what to do, but still be struggling with the stuff outside of training as well, right? The nutrition and the lifestyle, and even just the training as well, right? The stuff we've done with training, the different approach you're taking now to training has been like game changing for you, right? But yeah, we'll get into Nikki's transformation and everything else. But I would just, if you wouldn't mind, just taking us back a little bit, Nikki, to, if you're happy to share this, in terms of your experience with cancer and stuff, and and I'm just curious to know myself, and I think for the audience, like kind of what you learned about yourself, and because that must change your whole perspective on life, right?
Absolutely, yeah, and I'm more than happy to share it.
Thanks.
So yeah, back in 2018, it was the end. I just turned 50 in February, and in December of 2018, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. Massive shock, obviously, but the way that I do things, I'm an A-type personality, and I'm like, all right, I got this. I maybe cried a little tiny bit, nothing crazy, but just like, oh, okay. And once I got my head around it, I'm like, all right, I've got this. And I literally treated it as my job, right? To get this done, get it out of the way, and everything's going to be fine. Once it's out of my body, then it's great, right? So I was diagnosed with stage 2. Not a problem, had the surgery, got that done, got radiation done. When I got back from radiation, I kind of lost the plot a little bit, because it's all of a sudden having something like that done, and you literally are going to get it done and get it out of the way. And I just went right back into my work day as if it was nothing. Well, it wasn't nothing. And I should have taken a little bit more time off just to let everything kind of sink in and settle. Anyway, long story short, after that, I then had to start taking tamoxifen. So I'm on that now for 10 years. So 10 years in total. I started taking that in 2019. And that is a hormone blocker. So that right there was a game changer for me. It changed every single thing about my metabolism, about my mental state, because I've never taken anything other than vitamin D. So having to take a pill every single day for the foreseeable future really messed with my head.
Yeah,
and
no doubt.
Going from that, messing with your head, and then everything else starts to come into play, and then you start being like, oh, what's the point? Well, I'm taking pills, it's making me put on weight. So then they put me on another pill, which is going to help with the side effects of the tamoxifen, which then made me gain more weight. And, I just kind of gave up. I'm like, you know what? I can't do anything. And I was not happy to use that excuse of the pills, but it was there, and I was falling back into my really old habits. of when I was, overweight years and years ago, and it just, it crept up and just kept creeping, but you don't notice it on a daily basis until all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, what just happened?
Mm.
And other things started to change. My energy levels were just totally down in the dumps. I just felt like I needed to have, 2 cups of coffee in the afternoon and, give me a bar of chocolate type
Mm.
thing, just to get me through my afternoon clients, which was ridiculous. That was never me. I was never that person. And I knew that I had to do something to change it.
Mm.
So
Did you have any moments, Nikki, where you like any kind of, like, excuse the French, any fuck it moments where you were like, I got to do something about this, or was it just one of those things where it was a gradual thing? And because, by the way, for the audience as well, PT demands so much energy, face-to-face PT. Being a good PT like you, right? You can't show up, half-hired. You got to be given that energy, and it takes it out of you, right? So when you're not at your best, that must have been really, really challenging. So just curious to know, was it like a moment where you're like, I've got to do something about this, or would you just like it's like you say, I've given up, and it's just going to go downhill if I don't just slowly start to change,
right. No, I did have, pardon my French, a fuck it moment. Absolutely. And I'll tell you when that was. I went, my partner and I, David and I, we went skiing. We went out to Whistler in Canada. And, as I said earlier, I was a ski guide in the Alps for years. I'm a great skier. Not to pat myself on the back, but I'm just saying I could ski anything, right? And we were skiing in Whistler, and honest to God, it sucked the life out of me. And I was like, what? This is what I love. What's happened to me? I'm not compromising this anymore. I have to do something. So that was in February, and then I started with you, Martin, in March.
That's
That
right.
was
That's right.
moment. That was it. Yeah.
Yeah, and we were just talking off air, right? To just I want to go deeper into what you were struggling with, but like, you've just come back from a skiing trip now, and we were just saying off air, you felt like it was pretty much easy, right? And you were doing 30 miles a day.
Yeah. It was. I felt like I was back to my old self with skiing, as if I'd been there all season.
Mm,
And it
incredible.
wasn't. It was a week skiing. So yeah.
Incredible. What else were you struggling with, Nick? You said, like, obviously that was the screw it moment where like, I got to do something about this, because that's really impacting the quality of your life then, right? When it's something that you really love doing, you've gone away on a trip and you basically feel like shit, you're trying to keep up, you feel unfit, you know what I mean? What else were you, I'm just curious to know what else because what we talked about on the initial call, whether that be, like you said, confidence, shit, energy. A big one was in the mornings, right? You were getting up, like you say, and you're just feeling like absolute crap. Just curious to know, in terms of maybe just your confidence and energy, how those two things were affected, because they're the two most important things when it comes to the quality of your life, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, my whole quality of life was totally different. So as far as my energy went, right, I wasn't sleep. I couldn't sleep. I was like, up half the night, wake up, I'd be on my phone. I'd be like, I can't really do anything. I didn't want to, wake David up. So I'd just be like, under the covers on my phone. And, because I'm like, what's the point, of trying to sleep? I may as well just read my phone or do something. And then, I'd wake up in the morning when I did finally get to sleep, everything hurt, like just joints ached. And, again, I came down to blaming the pills for it. But you know what? I was like, no, I can't let this be. I can't let this be the rest of my life. It's not going to happen. I have to change something. That has to be on me, right? And also the other big thing was with my clients. Yeah, you know what? You're always on. You have to put on that face, right, for your clients every single time. But really upbeat, happy person, I always was. But I was getting to the stage where everything was annoying me because I was tired, because I had no energy. And also, I'm like, how can I stand here and tell my clients what you're supposed to do and how you're supposed to do it when I can't do it myself? Everything hurts, and I'm trying to help clients get away from that. But here I am doing it myself. So that was the game changer for me. It was like, I can't do this. I love my job. I want to continue doing this job. And if I can't be true to myself, I can't be true to my clients, right?
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for sharing that. And the joint pain was real, right? I remember that was a massive win for us. Like, and we'll talk about the wins and stuff like that. But yeah, the confidence, the energy, yeah, you were really struggling when you first reached out. I was gonna go deeper on something that you mentioned there, but I've kind of lost my trail of thought. I do that a lot. No, but the go wait for the coffee to kick in, ladies and gents. Just hang about, right? Just give me 10 seconds. No,
it's still morning for you. That's
exactly.
Why, right?
That's right. That's right. Thanks for helping me out there, Nikki. No, but it's what I was thinking about is the victim mindset, right? And obviously you went through a lot, 2018, breast cancer, medication, right? Like people make, the bottom line is we make excuses, right? We get into that victim mentality, and the situation you were in, that's a unique situation where it's easy to play that because you're like, right, I'm taking this medication, it's out of my control, right? And you can tell yourself that story like, look, what's the point? Like, I can't do nothing about this. These pills are making me gain weight, which, they weren't helping for sure. And they were definitely contributing to that, right? And metabolism and food choices and all that kind of stuff. Obviously, the impact that has on your hormones, but you were still in control, right? And when I had a chat with you on a call, I was like, nah, we can turn this around, and we can turn this around pretty quick just by you taking ownership, right, Nikki? So do you feel like that was the thing for you? It was like, right, at the moment, I'm kind of playing the victim. I'm feeling sorry for myself, even though I've been through a lot of shit. I am still in control, and I can still change this, right?
Yep, absolutely. That was exactly it, and that was the thing that got me to contact you. Was like, I need to take control of this, and the only way I'm going to do it is by having somebody that I can be accountable to, because I obviously wasn't being accountable to myself. Right. So I had to take that extra step.
And there was also Roz, right? Our good friend Roz, who's been a client of mine for 3 years now. She's one of my longest standing clients, with the online program. And obviously she's had a great transformation. And that obviously helped as well, right? Because it's like, oh, firstly, I'm Welsh as well, right? So it's like, oh, we have a little bit of more common ground. But with Roz, obviously you saw, the results she was getting as well, I guess, and how she was feeling and stuff, right? And that probably give you a bit more drive to reach out as well, right? It's always good, right? When you've got a friend and you trust them as well, and you look at them, you're like, oh, wow, she seems like different. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And that is the thing. It wasn't a physical thing either with Roz. Yeah, she looked fantastic. But, it was also the mental. And I could tell by the way that, the energy she had when she was talking to me, and the energy she had at work, and, everything. I mean, Roz is, she lives here on Nantucket as well. And, she's one of my very best friends. We've known each other for almost 30 years. And, to see that change in her demeanor and in the way that she presented herself was, I was so happy for her, and I was like, I know that I can do that. I know I can be there.
Love that.
I knew that. Yeah.
Love that. That gives you much more confidence and belief, doesn't it? Because, when you've been in that rut for so much, and I'm talking about this more like in terms of the pain you were in and what you were suffering with, because so many people are in this position now listening to this podcast. You know what I mean? It's like they, some people are at a good level, but there's other people who are struggling, and they've been stuck in a rut and spinning their wheels for a long time. And it's very easy to kind of talk yourself out of taking action, right? But as you say, having the right, accountability and guidance and structure and stuff like that goes a long way, because doing it on your own sometimes, it's a very challenging thing to do, because you need to have the right approach when it comes to sustainability, which is what we'll talk more about. Just quickly on the weight gain though, right, Nikki, because this is obviously an epidemic now, obesity epidemic, and people struggling to manage their weight. We've got more food available. We were just talking off air then about Christmas time and having more food available to you, right? And we've got more food available to us than any other time in human history, right? We've got technology, which is stopping us moving now. You can get a bloody McDonald's you don't even have to go to the drive-thru and walk to your car anymore. You can get a McDonald's to your doorstep using Uber Eats, right? So we've got these forces working against us. So you have to actively combat that, right? So with the weight gain, Nikki, how was that affecting you? Like, again, if you're happy to share, the body confidence and how you felt about yourself. And I know you mentioned obviously being a PT as well. How did that impact you? And maybe, again, you don't have to go too deep, but I know that can impact others around you as well then, right? Obviously your partner and stuff,
Yeah. Well, so you know what it's like. I mean, you talk negatively to yourself all the time. When you're feeling crappy, when you've got so much weight on, and you know that it's like it's not your norm, right? So you put on weight and you're like, oh God. And all you do is, you're working out. So when I was heavy, I was still fit, right? But I was doing a lot of cardio. I was teaching spin too. So I did a ton of spin classes. And I'd kind of given up on the weights a little bit, right? Which was ridiculous because that's what I teach. That's my job, right? And I love the weights. I love working with weights. But it just, I don't know. I kind of changed it up, and I was doing spin instead and telling myself that was fine. Well, you know what? It wasn't fine. But I when I was with my clients and I'm talking to them, and they'd say, "Oh my God, I'm really fat," and I'd be like, "Stop that negative talk." And I'm like, oh my God, but I do exactly that, And then I found myself saying it out loud to them too. I'd be like, oh, but don't worry, I've got a fat backside and blah, blah, blah. We'll get it. Doesn't mean you're not strong. You know what? I have to stop that. That's absolutely ridiculous. I would never, ever talk to somebody else like that. Why am I talking to myself like it? That's just, it's wrong. You have to get that negativity out of your head. You have to be nice to yourself, because that's not getting you anywhere. And then also, but in front of my clients, I was doing it, and that was also a big game changer. I'm like, I'm not doing anybody any favors, least of all me.
Yeah, so you were aware of that, and that's the thing, you're aware of it, but then to take action and actually change it is a big step, right? That's the hardest step, is actually reaching out and going, right, I need to change this, and I'm going to do whatever it takes, right? But talking about like the results and stuff like that, to kind of transition into that, you were just talking then about the negative self-talk. But the thing is, you need a healthy body, right? The thing is, negative self-talk, you can overcome that. Obviously, it is mindset. But in order to have your mind strong and a resilient mindset, and to be talking to yourself in a good way, you need to have a healthy body, right? So at the time, because your body wasn't healthy, you getting joint pain, energy, everything, you weren't fit, like you say about the skiing incident and stuff like the skiing situation. And it's hard to actually be positive, right? When your body's not, it's like a ripple effect, isn't it? When your body's healthy and strong, the mind follows, and vice versa a lot of the times as well, right? So, so even within like the first 30 days, right, of coaching, let's just talk about that first, right? Because I want people to understand that, with the right approach, you don't have, you're feeling so much better and you're looking better as a side effect. You're not going to get a transformation. I'm going to be straight with you. You're not going to get a game changing physique transformation in 30 days at all. I'm going to be honest with you. However, Nikki already dropped, quite a bit of weight, naturally, as the body corrects itself, right? When you start looking after it, funny enough, the body starts to naturally correct itself, and then your weight kind of starts taking care of itself. So yeah, first 30 days of coaching, what did you kind of notice in terms of your energy, weight loss, those kind of things? Because all in all, just for the audience, how much weight down are you now altogether? Last time I checked, it was like 20 pounds. In pounds. So most of the audience, 50% of the audience are American anyway, so you can say it in pounds.
Oh, good. Okay, excellent. Yeah, so I'm still at about 19, 20 pounds. But you know what? My body has changed.
And that's the key thing. And let's talk about that. Yeah.
It's never been about the number for me. I've never been that person about the number. As long as I know what my body, what it looks like. It's
body composition. Yeah. Right? So fat loss and muscle gain. Yes.
Absolutely.
And I talked about this on I'm not sure into it, but the previous episode I talked about this. Muscle is like 3 times more dense than fat, right? So it weighs a lot more. And when you add muscle to your body, right, you start going, oh, I feel more toned and everything, right? Even just by doing that. But yeah, got it. Sorry, continue.
Yeah, but wait, now I've lost my train of
thought. Oh, sorry, my bad. No, you were saying about, you'd never been too hung up on the number on the scales. It's more about the composition. My bad.
Yeah, so I've never been hung up on the number of the scale. So that didn't matter to me, that I wasn't losing like, 5 pounds a week or whatever, because, I was quite big and I'm like, I do need to lose that much. But that was always in my head to lose that. But things changed, because I can tell you, in that first week, my sleep got better, right? The joint pain disappeared. And that was just from eating real food, which I always thought I did. But it was just, I wasn't eating anywhere near enough protein. And I was kind of, filling myself with vegetables and salad, right? Because you think, yeah, that's good for you. But then there's other stuff you're lacking. So if you're not getting all of those nutrients, you're not getting anywhere, right? So the game changer for me was keeping track on that MyFitnessPal, because if you can be honest on there, you're only cheating yourself, right? If you don't write it in. So it was really, really good for me to see exactly what was happening here, and to be able to track the macros, right, which is the proteins, the fats, and the carbs, right? To be able to track that and actually see what was happening was a game changer for sure. And I honestly, like, the energy levels were different. I wasn't hungry. In fact, I was like, oh my God, I can't fit another thing in my mouth. You know what I mean? But I still had to get there with that protein, and I would do it. I didn't stuff myself to the point where I was going to be, like throw up, but I definitely added more and did what I should do. And it, honestly, it's a food thing. You've got to fuel your body, right? And that's what I was feeling. For me to be able to do what I want to do, I have to fuel my body properly.
And how much does it help though, right? To have, because you wouldn't, let's be honest, you're never gonna, unless you've got an expert telling you to do this, as a woman, right? Because you've lived your whole life. This is a very important point, actually. You've been conditioned to be slim, right? You know what I'm saying? Like for females, the condition to, be slim. Now it's different, build a muscle, great. But to eat less, basically, right? So like a lot of women like, right, I want to lose weight. I've got to eat less, right? So I've got to restrict, and I've just got to be more disciplined. You know what I mean? Right. But it doesn't work like that when it comes to sustainability, right? So you have to, and for anyone listening to this is what holds so many people back, Nikki, right? Guys and women, mainly females though, is like, to actually have someone tell you, right, you need to include these foods, these type of foods, right? This is what we're going to do, bang, bang, bang. And then, you're feeling better. Like you say, your energy level's better, your joint pain starts going right. You start feeling stronger in the gym. And then this is working. That gives you more motivation to keep going, right? But, unless you've got someone helping you, guide you through that, you've got this barrier in your head, like, oh yeah, but if I eat more, I'm going to gain body fat. But then straight away, it's actually funny enough, because even within the first 30 days, again, your weight kind of dropped like naturally by about, it's like 10 pounds within the first 30 days. One, they have like water, bloat, body fat.
I think it was like 12 pounds.
12 pounds, yeah. Yeah. So it goes to show. And obviously ever since, and obviously, yes, it's not all about the weight, but the thing is, Nikki, is like people don't really listen. You have to talk about the weight because people are like, I don't care. How much weight did she lose? I want to lose 30. You know what I'm saying? Right. So I'm talking about that just to give people more of an idea in their head. But it's more about the strength and everything else, right? So what else did you notice within that initial 30 days in terms of your energy? You said your energy levels were much higher. Did you notice that when you were showing up for clients, your mood was better as a result of that, and you were getting less? Oh my God. Because I know it's like, let's be honest, right? I'm just going to be straight up with people. As a face-to-face PT, if you're not at your best sometimes, or you're overdoing it, you might be doing 40, 50 hours a week. You sometimes get resentful. Like, you're like, damn, I got to, you know what I'm saying? You get into like a negative mindset, don't you? If you're not at your best, you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? And if you don't give to yourself, you can't give your best to your clients, as we know, right? So it really was that. And I was like, oh my God, I have to look after myself first. I do have to I have to write myself in my book to look after me, not just my clients in my book. So to be in that, the negative talk and all of that stuff, I had to switch it out. Yeah. And I couldn't have done it without you. There's no way in hell, because honestly, like the support of you, and also with the rest of the group, because we're in a WhatsApp group with a bunch of girls and stuff. And honestly, it's just amazing, because I know that I can do that with my clients, but you never give that much to yourself, do you? I don't think anybody does, right? So you need to have that support of somebody else, because once you have that support, you've got the motivation, you've got the accountability, and you've got the help. And I know that, honest to God, like if I had any kind of issues, I would get right in touch with you. You know that, because I do.
100%.
I'm fat, and I have done.
Yeah, exactly. We hopped on a call, then we had a back end of last year, and just for everyone as well. Like, it's not easy. Let's be honest, right? And the amount of psychological, like what I was just talking about, their mindset, right? The psychological barriers, and that you're still going to get occasionally negative self. We all get it. Like, let's be honest, it doesn't go away overnight. The brain is programmed to search for negativity. Like, you know what I mean? So, but you got to support there, as you say, and we get you unstuck straight away and moving forward, right? And I think that's the big thing. And it's interesting, right, Nikki, how I was thinking about this yesterday, how we do this, right? We'll spend, and I used to do this in my 20s. We spend money on liabilities all the time, right? So we'll buy new stuff online. We'll go out drinking. We'll go out for meals, and you got to enjoy your life. Great. You know, we'll get tattoos. We'll get the new car that we want. But when it comes to investing in an asset, right? In other words, invested in yourself, because that's essentially what that is. And it's the best investment you can make. Because as you say, you can't pour from an empty cup either, right, Nikki? You can't, or you can't serve from an empty vessel, right? It's just, you've got to fill your cup up first, right? So in terms of where you're at now, mentally and physically, then in comparison, right? So you've just been skiing. What kind of, I want to talk about how you're feeling right now, right? I know you've touched on this. How are you feeling right now in comparison to where you were? You know what I mean? Like in your head, mentally, emotionally.
Oh my God. I feel like a totally different person, you know, like my weekends now are spent, we're actually building a garage with an apartment above it and all of that stuff. Like, honest God, my weekends are literally spent like humping wood around up and down the stairs and all of that stuff. And I don't even think anything of it. So, okay. So here's something. The other day I had to go and pick up this big heavy bench from a friend's house. And like, she's a single mom and stuff like that. So myself and David went round and she was like, oh my God, are you okay? Well, I literally picked it up, put it in the truck with David. He's huffing and puffing. And I'm like, okay, what? And they're like, oh my God, you're so strong. And I went, yes, I am. And I really, you know what I mean? I went, thank you. Yes, I am strong, but I've been working my ass off at it. But I work at it because I enjoy it. And once you get that feeling, you don't want it to stop. It's endorphins, right? It's basically
the same thing as, like, you know, and this is not to go too off. It's like, you know, heroin, right? No, it's not like injecting heroin. I want to be straight here, but it's the same kind of. Well, who knows? I've never tried it, but maybe that. No, but it's the same pathway in the brain, right? And it's the best natural anti. This has been proven in research. You know, exercise is the best natural antidepressant. And with strength training, which we'll touch on quickly now, strength training, all the research coming out on it is fascinating, you know, for mental health and for neuroplasticity in the brain. In terms of the brain, the hippocampus, so the part which is responsible for memory and stuff, actually grows. And they've done a research on Alzheimer's recently, where strength training is superior in so many ways to any other type of exercise, basically. And just for some context, you know, you've been doing like 3 sessions a week, right? So it's not like, yes, we've been doing the bands in between and stuff like that, which is like literally 10 minutes. But the main workouts, which have been getting you bang for your buck, just because people might be thinking, oh, you know, how many times you train in a week? Like, how to achieve that? Basically 3 times a week are the main sessions, right? The main strength sessions. Yeah,
3 times a week. And honestly, like I finished my workout just before I met with you. So it's been one of those tight days today. So I literally just had everything fitting in the box today. Do you know what I mean? And I can't even tell you, like every single week, the strength gains just amaze me every week. And I know it's possible because I see my clients do it, but it's hard to look at yourself doing it. But, you know, because it's all on the app and, you know, on Trainerize, and it's just amazing to me. I do something, I'm like, oh my God, look at that. And that does nothing but make you feel better. So that right there, watching what your body is capable of because you're fueling it properly is a game changer. You know, that's what builds my confidence. And honestly, like my confidence is so much better than it was, you know. And coming back from skiing, when I was skiing 35 miles a day this past trip, I mean, that's amazing. You know, I'm 55 and I feel awesome. What's not to love about that?
And that's the thing. I love, you know, and obviously 55 years old, right? Let's be honest, because that's another thing. People get to a certain age and they're like, it's too late. It's too late not to start, my friend, right? That's what I always tell clients. People would say to me, oh, you know, in their 60s or 50s or whatever. Oh, you know, I feel like, no. It's too late not to start. Get that out your head. And you've been hitting PBs, right? So like literally, just some context, you've been hitting personal bests, right? With like deadlifts and stuff like that in the gym, right? Literally, or pretty much anyway. Yeah. And this is comparing to like the younger version of yourself as well, right?
Absolutely. I
give us an idea, just real quick. Give us an idea on deadlifts, squats, those kind of things, like the numbers you've been hitting. The numbers you've been hitting. If you can remember in pounds. Firstly, it sounds better.
Okay, so today I did 3 sets of 10 reps of 185 in barbell squats. So that was
185 pounds.
Yeah.
And you've just got back from a trip away and stuff, right? So you haven't been doing, you know what I'm saying? Like you've been skiing instead of, so you've hit that straight away, right? Shit, that's insane. You're making me feel a bit insecure here, Nikki. Now go on.
I know. And then, so that's why I could pick that big bench up and everybody's like, what?
Exactly.
Yeah. And then the other thing I did today was I did incline presses, 40-pound dumbbells. I mean, hello, 40-pound dumbbells. I've never pressed 40-pound dumbbells. And I did 3 sets of 10. I mean,
insane.
I've never done that, ever.
Insane. 55 years old pressing that. I'm just calculating in my head. I can't recall any. I had a few female clients maybe pressing that for a few reps, but like young, like that's insane. Actually, that's actually insane when you say it out like that. It's when you say it in pounds as well, because I normally calculate in kilos.
Right, in kilos.
It sounds so much more, but I'm like, no, actually, that's a lot of weight. That's insane.
Yeah.
It just goes to show, right? Literally in the shape of your life, stronger than you've ever been and you ever thought possible. You know, drop 20 pounds, which is just a side effect. You know, the body follows when you take care of yourself, right? The weight coming off, the body just takes care of itself when you take care of it, basically, right? So a couple of quick questions I wanted to fire you with, Nikki, before we wrap this up. I'm just curious to know, like, I'm very curious about psychology and how people think and stuff like that, right? I'm just curious to know, like, what you were thinking, like, before you started with me, basically, what were you telling yourself before starting about starting? Was it, if you can remember? Just curious, because we get into our own head sometimes and tell ourselves certain stories, don't we? And I just find it fascinating.
Right. Well, before I went skiing, you know, I had that whole thing. I'm like, oh, I have to get fit to ski. Oh, it's okay. I'm spinning. I'm fine. You know, I'm doing all of this. My legs will be fine. Blah, 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 blah. But it told a different story when I did ski. You know, I didn't have the energy. I was literally doing like half days. And I'm like, oh God, no, I want to ski more than that, but I'm just tired. I'm going to go and sit in the hot tub, you know, that type of thing. So that's the psychology of that bit. So up until I went skiing, that was like, oh, it's fine. I'm spinning. But it wasn't until I tried to do something that I absolutely loved and realized that I couldn't do it to the extent that I know I was capable of. That's when that changed. That was the fuck it moment.
That's huge.
And that was my psychology. And I am kind of like that. I have to get to that point where it's like, nope, I'm done. And then I know I can do anything. You know, like I said, with the whole cancer thing, I saw it as my job to do it. I am going to do this. I'm going to get through it. I'm going to get it done. And I did. And that's exactly the same way that I did it with reaching out to you.
Yeah, love that. That's so inspiring. But yeah, obviously we're always looking, as you know, we're always looking to improve the program. So I'm always asking for feedback of clients on what we can do better, et cetera, et cetera. But I'm just curious just to see, you know, where our strengths are and stuff as well. I'm just curious to know, what did you love about the program that you weren't expecting to like?
Oh my God. I got to tell you, I love those band workouts in between. I was like, oh my God, it's too much. I can't be doing like 6 days a week, but it's not. The band workouts are like 10 minutes, right? But I love them because it really does help. And here's the other thing. I don't hurt after my workout. Like, I'm not pushing I'm obviously pushing my muscles, right? But because I'm fueling my body properly, I'm assuming this is it, right? Because I'm fueling my body properly, I'm able to put the work in and do like 40-pound presses. I know that I'm not going to wake up tomorrow feeling like, oh my God, I can barely move my arms. I'm not going to be able to show a client how to do this, or I'm not going to be able to get up off the toilet, right? From doing 185-pound squats. I don't feel like that doesn't happen. You know,
I think that's been, I'm glad you mentioned the bands. Yeah. Sorry to interrupt. I'm just glad
I know it's the bands.
Yeah. And with the joint, you know, with obviously your joints improving and everything, it really accelerates recovery in between workouts. But that's a whole other conversation. Like, and the way you look at them, right? You don't look at it like a workout anymore, right? So it's like it's not a workout. It's just like an energy booster. It's like, imagine you're having a coffee or something, right? Or like I have cold showers and stuff, right? That's the way I look at it now. And like, it's just a little release of like stress in the mind as well, right? It's still exercise. You still get your heart rate up. And that's basically what it is. Getting blood flow to the brain, getting the heart rate up, accelerate recovery. And that is what's massively, it's a game changer for strength as well, those band sessions. And it's hard to communicate it to people, but like yourself, you have to put the work in to get the results. And you were smashing out these band sessions within that first 30 days as well. And that would have kind of accelerated your results as well, But yeah, so in terms of the program, you mentioned about accountability, and I'm just curious again, accountability, you said, the community as well, and the level of support you get and stuff like that. Was there any of those things that you weren't expecting that you found, oh, this is very helpful?
Oh, absolutely. Like getting in touch, I'm in that group with the WhatsApp group with the girls and stuff. Yep. And I'm telling you, great. We share recipes, and, we'll just throw it out there. Anybody struggling at the moment, I'm having an issue with, something like this. And we'll just, get in touch with each other on that WhatsApp group. But the other thing is, though, too, is the calls, once a week. And, I know it's a bit difficult with being in the States and stuff because it's on such a bad time zone for you and, with that. But I really do feel that they are so helpful, just being in touch with the other members, and seeing what they have to say and what their struggles are. And because everybody has something different with their own experience with it, right? So you can always get that help from somebody else, and just you putting on the Facebook page, write down your 3 goals. I honestly find that really helpful for me. And I'm not really huge on like Facebook or stuff like that. I don't like to get into it much because I can go down that rabbit hole and I don't like it. I've got better things to do than be hanging around on Facebook all the time. But that is totally different. I look for that every week so I can actually put my goals in, and I'm making myself accountable then. Right? I'm not accountable to you. I'm accountable to myself. That's how I feel. That if I write that down, that's what I'm going to do, and I will do it.
Awesome. And just for the audience, I'm not sat here trying to sell the program, right? Because the program sells itself. But just to give you some context, obviously, Nikki is a trainer herself, personal trainer, right? And even she needs or gets a lot of value from, that level of accountability, the support, the structure, all those kind of things, because you get the one-to-one support, but having peer accountability, you get my accountability, I'm holding you accountable every step of the way, check-ins, everything else, that's what we do. But then you've got that extra layer then as well, right? And with the call as well, it's like, what I've noticed is like, not many people come, but that's great because that means I'm doing my job, right? So the way I communicate this call now, it's basically like a one-to-one anyway, right, Nikki? When you jump on this call, it's almost like a one-to-one, check-in anyway, right? Because most people are, everyone knows what they're doing. It's, if people are struggling, then they just hop on that call and boom, we shoot the shit, we nip it in the bud and we move forward, right? One more question, my friend. I just wanted to ask you, this is a very helpful one for the audience. If you could go back in time, right, to let's say February last year, right? A month before you started, that's probably when you went skiing as well. What do you wish you could tell yourself, my friend?
What do I wish I could tell myself? I wish that I could tell myself, I wish I'd have met Martin sooner. No, not really. I wish I could say, oh my God, listen, if you do this now and you get somebody else to tell you what to do, because basically, right, listen, everybody in their jobs, we tell people what to do on a daily basis. There's always something else that we have to be, doing and making sure we get done and blah, blah, blah. It's nice to have somebody else to help you with that. And I wish that I had asked for help a lot sooner because it basically is help. And that's what I need. And I think people are afraid to ask for help. Don't be, because you know what? That is the minute you can give that up and ask for that help, you'll be amazed at what happens. And honestly, I feel like my life has turned around in the space of a year, for sure.
Awesome. Hey, really appreciate your time, Nikki, today. Really enjoyed that chat. I could chat forever to a fellow Welshie, so we better cut it off here before we end up talking for 3 hours. Right. Awesome. So much good, quality kind of valuable lessons and insights from Nikki there for the audience. So, get your notepad out if you want to make a few. I always say to the audience, right? And I say to my clients as well, it's like, if you can take 1 or 2 things away from this podcast or the calls or whatever, and, implement or have a light bulb moment, that could be a game changer within itself. So thanks again, Nikki, anyway.
All right. My pleasure. Good talking to you, buddy.
Cheers, buddy.